Hello, everybody. Hello. Let me just turn that down a little bit. Good rockin' tune to start the night off with. Hello. I'm Cranky Canuck. This is Late Night with Cranky and Friends. I am being joined tonight by the Red Mage over there, Mr. Red Mage. And the true pimpin' is back. Yay, dude. Good to have you back.
Good to be back.
Yes. And hopefully your internet will behave itself tonight.
It does what it pleases.
Yeah. Tell me you're not on Comcast.
I'm on worse. I'm on Time Warner.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
Yeah.
God.
Why do you torture yourself this way?
Don't get me started. I have no choice.
Anyway, so how are I've got to ask Mr. Sushi Maker. How was your morning this morning at the crack of dawn?
Too damn early, but actually a lot of fun.
Why
It wasn't
sushi?
like. Why not? It's something I've never made.
True. Do you like sushi?
No, sir.
Like for you?
I could tolerate it, but it's just not my go-to.
No, like how do you like fish? For you is like deep battered, fried,
Hell yeah, I'm from Texas. Yeah.
barbecued.
I do like grilled fish too, especially like when I went to Mexico. I had some awesome grouper, but fresh caught fish, that I can do.
Yeah. So why learn sushi rolling? I'm just curious. And where did this take place?
It's at the Niagara College, so like just outside of Niagara Falls area. They're huge on like agriculture, horticulture, culinary, as well as brewery. Like they do wine and brewing and beer brewing. So my mom actually approached me with the idea, and I'm like, you know what? I need to kind of learn to cook more variety. And
What, you're a mac and cheese guy?
normally, like I know how to make chicken, I know how to barbecue and everything, all that, but it doesn't hurt to know a little more, especially if you're having a date over and making dinner. Kind of impress a little.
Oh shit!
Oh.
But listen to this guy, Drew. Like he's trying to pull one of you. You know, like pump
One
up the
of
lady.
me?
Yeah, pull one of you. Right. But I want to know. What I want to know about is this brewery at the college.
Oh my god. I actually got a little quick tour of it. They're actually in the process of boiling one of their batches, and they actually have their own. I think it's about 6 or 7 different brews of their own for the college. And the one I tried, the little sample of cherry pilsner, amazing.
Now, wait. I'm trying to get this wrapped around my head.
Mm.
You can go to college
Yeah.
and learn to brew beer.
Yes, 2-year course.
A 2-year course. So
Yeah.
I can get a government loan.
Sweet.
I can get an OSAP to go to college to learn to make beer.
Yeah, well, they have winemaking there too. Like the whole like field of grapevines, but they're like 'cause everyone knows craft brewery is like the big thing right now, and apparently the college in 2 weeks is doing this huge bash. It's like end of year bash for the students. So there's like 22 different brews that are sitting right now and fermenting, waiting for that festival. So I'm going back in 2 weeks to try them all.
Now, True, if you had been going to college and they had a brewmaster course, would that have been like high on your list of certifications to get?
Yeah, why not? You could apply that to everyday IT.
Well, screw the IT. Put it as your side gig. Do that on the weekends and then make your own beer.
Brews and troubleshooting.
Bruce, and now there's a business name if you ever heard one. Anyway, something that popped up yesterday, and like we've been trying to, we've been sharing a few decent movie trailers that are for movies that are coming out, first looks, and we have one today for the first, and God help me, they're calling it a teaser trailer, but it's not too bad for the next James Bond movie, Spectre. So let's just have a look-see and what we're headed into.
Forensics finally released this.
What is it?
Personal effects they recovered from Skyfall. You've got a secret. Something you can't tell anyone. Because you don't trust anyone.
I always knew death would wear a familiar face. But not yours.
I was at a meeting recently and your name came up.
I'm flattered London is still talking about me.
It wasn't MI6.
You are a kite dancing in a hurricane, Mr. Bond.
Welcome, James. It's been a long time. And finally, here we are.
Okay, so are either of you Bond fans?
I've seen most of the movies, but no, I'm not like a Bond fan. I enjoy it as a good action movie, so I wouldn't be a good critique here.
Well, no, I'm not a Bond fan either. No, but I don't mind. I think I've seen most of them, and I look at them too as an action film. So I come at it from that point of view. What about you, Red?
I am. I still have to go back and watch majority of the old ones up until GoldenEye. That's where I kind of grew up with it. Kind of excited to see it. I think I could be wrong, but isn't that the German guy from Inglourious Bastards? That had a Spectre?
I don't know.
It sounds like him. He was in the guy who was also in Django, which I love that actor. He's great. But that looks... it's a bit of a swerve.
What did you think, True, of like, it doesn't seem as action... Well, granted, it's only a trailer and they're sort of setting up the suspense of it, but it doesn't seem to be that much of an action one this time around.
Yeah, they're definitely setting it up. A very minimal trailer. I don't think it revealed enough, but I'm sure because it's a Bond flick, there will be sex and bullets chasing.
Bonus.
The usual.
Bonus. Yes. Can't have a Bond without the sex and bullets. An interesting move from Marvel. I'm not sure that I really am too keen on this one, but apparently they are starting a subscription service for fashion of clothes based on the Marvel Universe characters and brands.
Okay.
And
I'm just kind of like going, what the fuck? Like, I know Marvel wants to get their universe everywhere, but in my closet?
Like, what's wrong with running down to, like, a store or, like, a Hot Topic that sells all this kind of shit and buying it yourself?
I don't know. But I guess they want to be, like, you have Bespoke, and you've got a lot of these other subscription services. You can get, like, men's products or women's products. You can have, each month. There's even coffee ones. There's all kinds of them. I've even signed up. Well, I'm testing one out for more geeky type stuff. But, like, True, can you ever see yourself signing up for like, a clothing subscription model from Marvel?
oh yeah, I've always wanted to be Wonder Woman and have to go out and buy your own things. Too much work.
Yeah. No. I just do not see you in a skirt. I'm sorry.
Well, what if I'm wearing one right now, Cranky?
Oh
What do you
no!
got to say about that?
I don't want to see that. I really don't. I really don't.
5 minute break. All right.
Okay. But no, I want to get on to something else because one of the biggest games that's come out in the last week and it's gotten a lot of good press has been Pillars of Eternity. Now, I haven't had a chance to play it yet, and I don't think, Red, you have you? But True Pimpin' is all over it like a dirty shirt. So, kind of give us a rundown, like a beginner's rundown of what Pillars of Eternity is and what your thoughts on it are.
It's amazing. Yeah, obviously I'm going to fanboy this. I've been patiently waiting for this game for so many months. So it wasn't early accessed at all. It was kickstarted. They raised, $4 million, and they took 3 years to develop it. You have almost the entire team behind Obsidian that did Baldur's Gate 2. So it's got a lot of similarities with Baldur's Gate, and which are amazing games, but me going back to those games and trying to play them, there's just so much to relearn. The UI is very clunky. It's just, unfortunately, it was a great game for its time, but I don't want to go back and replay it.
No.
Even though I want to, but I really can't. This game has a very clean UI. Like, you don't have to be a pro to play this, but it does have that ability. It scales very well. It introduces you to the game. It introduces each mechanic to it, so you're not going to be overwhelmed. Since it is a CRPG, there is tons of dialogue, tons of choices, which I'm not a big fan of reading dialogue. The voice acting is really done well, but there's not a whole lot of it, so you will have to go through and actually read and actually make good decisions, because you can kill off a character, or there's like a party member that you may want, and you talk to them wrong, they're not going to join your party. So you really do have to pay attention to dialogue.
Yeah, I had that happen in Divinity.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's one I was going to compare it to, because I love Divinity.
Oh, it's an awesome game.
Incredible game. But I did have my gripes about it, and I'm sure with Pillars of Eternity, I'm going to find my gripes about it. But right now, 10 hours into the game, I'm only in like the second dungeon. So I know it's going to be a very expansive game. The combat is absolutely incredible. Like, there's achievements just to play the whole game with no companions in just 1 minute, because you will get more experience if you're just by yourself. So that's an incredible feat. But like, you could have a party size of 3 or 4 people. You can have up to 6 people in your party, which sounds overwhelming.
Now, is
but
that
it's
multiplayer
really
or party members that you collect along the way?
It's all single player. You just go to an inn and you can completely create any character you want.
So it's
any class
it's like
you want.
Divinity like that.
Yeah, just a lot more control. Rather than having 2 main characters and a party of 4 with like 2 henchmen, there wasn't a lot, and you didn't get to choose their spells. This, you get to completely customize their race, their sex, their backstory. Once again, it's very fluid. It sounds overwhelming, but it's very fluid. It's very easy to get into. I know it's kind of a pricey game, but I mean, it's worth a AAA price. It truly is. There's a lot of micromanaging, you would say, but you don't. The way around that is, I've seen a few streamers do this. They'll build a party that has like an enchantress that'll give out. It kind of acts like a bard. Give out a bunch of buffs. Have a paladin or 2 up in the front line, a soldier in the front line, and then some rogues or rangers. And that way, they don't have to go through all the spell casting. They can kind of just auto attack and just kind of. There is a way. It's not a lot of fun doing it that way, but if you want to have less micromanagement, you can build your party to do that. For me, I love rolling with 2 mages, a hunter pet, a priest, and a soldier as a tank with a rogue that can backstab and infiltrate and get behind them and flank them. Like, that's a lot going on.
Wow.
So you just want to. It's so much fun though. Like, you'll auto save, you'll enter a big room, you'll try to pull it differently, and you'll do a total wipe. So I was a big WoW player, so to me that kind of comes back to that whole raid where you're going to die 4 or 5 times before you beat the boss. But when you do, and you do the perfect pull, it is such a rewarding game. I have to highly recommend it for anyone that wants to spend a little bit of time into learning the new game. And this kind of is up their alley if they're into D&D, if they're into dungeon crawl or long-term games like that with tons and tons of choice. I definitely recommend it. And one more thing is the replayability is absolutely there. I know that the game is a huge game, but being able to replay it, I've watched 4 streamers play it, and each streamer seemed to have a completely different party build, a completely different experience. They went to different places at the beginning, so it's not it's not that linear. It's linear to a sense, but there's so much depth out there in the story behind it. Just it's up there. It could be the game. It's earlier this year, but it could be the game of the year for me. Off the pedestal.
No, that like I love it when somebody falls in love with a game that much. Now, Red, along the same game genre, do you have a fanboy favorite of a newer game?
Honestly, a fanboy favorite, it's hard because with gamers ADD, I'm all over the place. City Skylines is catching a lot of my attention because it's just easy to quick get in and get out if I need to. But Divinity, I agree with you, is just absolutely amazing. I just haven't gotten back into playing it again, and because it reminds me of the old Baldur's Gate and how much fun I had playing those games.
Yeah, I think for me, the one that has really sucked me in bad, like to the point that like I got up this morning, had my coffee. My pot of coffee sitting beside me. I got my email done. Looked at the time and it said, it's still early. I figured, what the hell? I'll get an hour's game time in, and I fired up Grim Dawn. Next thing I knew, I looked at the clock and it was like 5:30. And I was like, what the fuck, Grim Dawn? You did it to me again. Now, Grim Dawn is still early access. But they are constantly updating it. They're constantly adding content to it. Like when I last played it, I got to the point where basically the story was ending before the new content added. I came back in today. That new content is there, and I'm sucked in. It was like I love Grim Dawn. It's just of that genre. Like it's very. I want to say, in some ways it's Diablo-esque, but it's also RPG. It's also a little bit of a a little bit of a dungeon crawler in a way. Yeah. You've got your bosses, and they can kick your fucking ass left, right, and center. You learn to die often, really often, especially if you're doing it solo. Now, Grim Dawn is a multiplayer game. I've played it multiplayer with. I was with you and G.
Yep, I've done it with Seb too.
Yeah, and it plays well even as a multiplayer.
Yeah.
It's like so. Yeah, that pretty well is my time suck right now. Other than City Skylines, but I can't play it properly right now. I'm having problems with it. But anyway, you got this interesting post in here, Red. It says, "I've had enough," and basically the author is he's decided, in the interest of keeping his gaming relationship in one piece, to air some grievances that he has with games. Now, I thought it'd be kind of fun to go through these, and the three of us sort of balance out whether or not we agree that these are good bitch points to have and what can be done about them. The silliest one though really is, "I've had enough of being asked to follow a character whose walking speed is slightly slower than my own, meaning I have to keep stopping every 2 seconds."
Oh god, yes. Honestly, every time you have to follow someone in Skyrim, it's literally the same. They're at walk speed, you're at run speed, and it's step, step, step. Wait, step this, like, just run at my speed. Like, a lot of this, you'll see a lot of this. I'm going to agree with a lot of this.
What do you think, Drew? Is that a valid bitch point?
Maybe when I'm driving down a road, man. But you're talking about like in Skyrim, you're running and you bump up against like an NPC or something. You're just like GTFO. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I think more of the fact, like, well, Red, is that what you mean?
It's more of like if a character, like you get a quest character and they say, hey, we need to get over here on the other side of the city or a dungeon, and you have to follow them, to wherever it is because you have no idea where you're going.
I gotcha.
Literally,
I hate
they're
that.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
It's a nuisance.
I've had enough of stealth sections where getting spotted means a restart rather than adapting to the new circumstances in a creative or interesting way. Now, I haven't run into this in a game.
I have. There have been a few games that like this. There's actually a night last week where I was streaming Payday 2. And I've mentioned this before, there's a specific mission called Shadow Raid where it is stealth or fail. If you get caught and the alarms get triggered, you're done. You have 2 minutes to get out, whether you've gotten all of the loot that you need or not for the mission. And if you don't have the required loot, you fail. But majority of their levels, you can, I'd say about 95% of them, you can start as stealth and get caught and you're fucked, go loud. And just deal with the current circumstances.
I've never run up against this in a game, but then, maybe I'm not playing those type of games where this occurs. Have you, is this something that you've run into true at all? Or where, you're in stealth, you get discovered, you're suddenly automatically restarting your level?
Yeah. Games like Payday, Splinter Cell.
Does that bother you? Is that an irritating factor? All right, let's put it this way. Could the game developers come up with a more creative way to deal with that?
Yeah, it would take a lot of work though to kind of role play it out. But yeah, I think it could be done. Just I don't think they want to spend time to make it that real. They just rather quick restart, quick save.
Yeah, like I said, Kai has got the point there for Payday 2. If you're anywhere below overkill difficulty, it is doable because a lot of times if you're going stealth, you have no armor. You don't have the kind of firepower required to deal with the tasers, the cloakers, the bulldozers, none of them. Even the new turrets they put in, which are a pain in the ass, I found out a couple days ago.
Okay, let me see. I've had enough of people shouting at me, telling me to hurry up, or reminding me of the mission objective when I stop to explore the environment. Yes.
Agreed.
That irritates the shit out of me. I want to explore. I want to have fun. Yeah. And you're telling me, hurry up, you gotta get here. And really, you don't have to.
Yeah, if it's not one of those time things where you literally have to do it, stop.
Okay, I can't specifically name any games. Can either of you two think of games where this is probably the most prevalent and irritating?
I mean, going way back to Ocarina of Time, you have freaking Navi, but that was before quest helpers and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of any solid examples. I think someone in chat's got to catch this one though.
Yeah,
I think it happens in Grand Theft Auto a lot too.
It's not been a major drawback for me. It's shut the fuck up. I'll get there when I get there. I really don't care. Because it's not that blatant or that loud or that often. It's just, okay, I get your point. Now leave me the fuck alone. I'm having fun. I've had enough of playing as a powerful character who is brilliant at everything. That's boring. I want to play as people with flaws and shortcomings. Something to overcome. Does this make sense as a bitch true? Isn't the whole idea behind a lot of games to become all powerful and all the badass?
Yeah, but with a sense of realism. Character development is always a part of movies and video games. So, just to try to relate to the main character, they're gonna have to have flaws. I mean, look at Batman, any superhero.
What about you, Red?
Yeah, no one wants to play Superman all the time. I'm sorry. Despite the fact he's got kryptonite is his shortcoming.
Some bullshit.
Yeah. Come on. You gotta have, even a lot of games where you're like a lot of games I play, like Skyrim, if you specialize one way, especially the older Elder Scrolls games like the Oblivion and Morrowind, when you specialize as a rogue, you are shit for armor wearing, you are shit for dealing straight damage, toe to toe. You can't do magic, so it gives you a kind of a set play style and a challenge in that mode. So having characters that aren't god at everything is actually a benefit.
So like this modern trend, like say for example, in WoW, where you basically have the character that is sort of can do a little bit of everything, is not as much fun or as enjoyable as one that has limitations to it.
I don't know. Like I've got a monk, and the monk can be everything except for a ranged damage dealer. They can heal, they can tank, they can do straight DPS like a rogue. Like it's fun in each way, and each individual specialization has its pros and cons. As a healer, you are the heal bot. You just are spamming buttons to keep people alive. The tank is to keep everyone from getting hit, and then DPS is just to burn the crap down. So they have their own niche ways to play it.
What do you think, Truth?
I love heal botting.
Yeah, you're a big healer in most of the games. What?
Yeah,
okay,
man.
I'm curious about something. What is it about being a healer that appeals to you so much? Because I know in WoW you're a big healer. If you take on any multiplayer that has a healer character in it, that's the one you go for all the time. And I'm just curious as to why.
Yeah, I don't use any like mods or anything like that to make it easier. Like I'll have raid frames and I just do all my dispels. I do like to support. I mean, yeah, DPS is a lot of fun. Tanking's not a big thing for me, but especially back in Molten Core days where you had those huge 40-man raids, priests or healers were extremely valuable, and like the party would always wipe, and if the party wiped, it was always the healer's fault. But nowadays it's more of, GG tank, or hey, DPS needs to step up. But for the longest time, people would always blame healers because they didn't pull their weight. So if you got really, really good at healing, you could offset a lot of the shitty DPS or the shitty tanks and pull through it. So being able to survive a fight and your party knowing that it was because the healers were elite, that felt good. So I've just always felt in that niche. I love to support people, so it's just my type of role. Obviously, soloing and questing is really boring, but when I'm with a group and I'm raiding or something, heals or bust.
He goes on, I've had enough of games with limited resources, like say fuel, that are so cheap to buy, the limitation is rendered totally meaningless, and resupply becomes little more than a tiresome chore. I'm not. That one doesn't really.
Yeah, I don't know any games that I would even use as example as that one.
Yeah, I can't think of any. I'm not even seeing where this one's coming from. I've had enough of the camera zooming in on the solution to a puzzle just as I'm about to use my brain to figure it out for myself. Is there anything you can think along those lines, True, that you've run into with games?
I mean, it's all good if they give you a chance to figure out the puzzle. But yeah, there's some instances where you'll run through a dungeon multiple times and you can't find any hints, even though the hints are there. You're skimming through them and you don't quite see them. But I mean, okay, yeah, and a lot of like action RPGs, like I think it was Drake's Uncharted, they did that a lot, where they're like, oh, here's a dungeon, and even Zelda did it. It's like you walk into a dungeon, it's like, oh, how am I going to get up there? And then it pans to the door or the key or the treasure chest, and you're like, oh, cool.
Thanks.
So sometimes it's helpful, but when it actually completely gives it away, it's just like, why did you even make the dungeon? There's no immersion.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed 2 was bad for that too, because you had a lot of cases where you're looking for I think it was the relics of all the older assassins, and you get into certain areas, it's like, okay, here's where you are. This is the path you need to go to get to the next portion of this puzzle. And it's like, why don't you show me where I need to go, and I'll figure the rest out.
This next one I think is a big one. I think this one is one that a lot of people have had. I've had enough of games that use a cutscene to show something that could easily be put in the player's hands. The Order, 1886. That is the one that comes right to mind. Like that game is pretty well like half to 3/4 cutscene.
Yeah.
Can you guys think of any other games that have pissed you off that way that you've played?
Did you play The Order?
No, but I saw enough of it being played that no.
Yeah, I watched it played. I don't have a PS4, but yeah, that game, it looked amazing. But once again, it was just like a prequel to what that game is supposed to be. Like, it was a $60 teaser essentially, and I really hate those. I don't know if they're down here in the list, but you know, those press X to continue the cutscene, and if you don't press X at the right time, you have to restart the cutscene. It's like you're just killing time. You're just buying time. Like, why not make it so if I don't press X at the right time, I get a finger cut off and I have to play the rest of the game without a pinky or something? I don't know. Just trying. This thing suck.
There's also the other one here. I've had enough of unskippable cutscenes placed just before a checkpoint of a particularly difficult section.
Oh God, yes.
What games can we think of that have done that to us?
Oh, I can't even think of games offhand, but I know the examples. Is a minute-long cutscene and then a boss who is a prick to deal with.
Yes.
And then you die.
Dungeon Siege did that.
Yeah, and then you gotta go through the cutscene again, and you die.
Yeah.
Rinse and repeat.
Yeah. Dungeon Siege did that, and like, I loved that game. But that was the one part about that game that I hated. Because it was always, you entered the area, you went into this cutscene that you know, sort of did this great big panorama, and then you went straight into the fucking boss fight, and you're going, what the fuck? Give me some breathing room here.
Oh,
you know?
Ozzy has an amazing point. The Lich King in Icecrown Citadel. When you kill him, it's a full almost 2 minutes before he actually dies. And you're just sitting there, and they're talking. I'm like, just drop so I can loot your ass and get out.
Can you think of any, True?
Nah, I think y'all got it.
Yeah, you think you got it? Okay. I've had enough of diaries, documents, tape players, and audio logs being used to tell a story rather than something that plays to the strength of the medium. I'm not so sure that one irritates me.
Yeah, it depends what game you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm tired of the inverse. Well, it kind of not so much half of what he's saying. The diaries and documents, if I've got to sit there and read novels upon novels for backstory,
Who fucking reads them?
You know what? How many books are in Skyrim, and how many people have actually read all of them instead of just picking it up, read the first page and loot it? I don't like audio logs are fine because you can let them run as you're walking around and doing stuff, and you can catch certain things. But yeah, it's kind of stupid.
Yeah, Dead Space did that really well.
Yeah, they had the audio logs. What was the other one? Mass Effect has the audio logs. I believe Mass Effect has the audio logs as well.
Mass Effect, I think Fallout 3 in New Vegas did, as well as oh god, I just was playing.
Like, I don't mind the audio logs, the diaries and the documents. Like, you know, when they say right click to read, yeah, okay, right click, close. Right click, close. I very rarely, and I know you're probably missing out on an important part of the gameplay and the story, but I just can't be bothered.
Oh, and Borderlands 2 did a good job with those.
Yes,
because they had that one quest when you find Sir Hammerlock.
Yep.
And you had to find what happened to that woman from the first game.
Yep.
And those are hilarious.
Yeah. They handled that well. So I'm not so much on that one. I've had enough of developers not recording enough dialogue variations and hearing the same barks over and over again, and they become knives in your ears. Yes.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow to the knee. You know what? That was one, and I had a guard in 5 seconds say the same thing 3 times to me in Kingdoms of Amalur. I turned around, stealth, backstabbed him, and killed him in 1 shot because I couldn't stand it anymore.
Have you, like, does that one bother you, like, when that happens? True?
Yeah, like I'm not a big Shadows of Mordor fan, but when I did play it, it's just none of their audio worked out. Like you'd kill a guy, he'd come back like as the same guy, and he would talk shit. Or you'd meet a guy for the first time, and he would just talk shit. Oh, it's crazy meeting you again. And it's like, but I've never met you. So they really botched that up.
I've got to ask though, because I was really kind of excited for Shadows of Mordor. How is it to play? Like, regardless of what the dialogue is, how is that game to play?
It's not my type of game, so I'm going to be biased towards that. But I kind of side with the Gaul when it just seems like an Assassin's Creed reskin. But at the same time, like watching the Hunter Wild play it, it's a blast. Like it's fun to watch. It's good. It does its job. It's just I couldn't finish it because it's just simply not my type of game where I just go out. If you're in for a game where you can just mindlessly go to a quest objective, kill some orcs, and advance in story, then sure, why not? But I couldn't play it more than a couple hours.
Really? Okay.
But I get bored. Like I don't play Assassin's Creed, so
yeah, no, I can't be bothered playing that one either. Moving on, Dead or Alive 5. There's a little bit of an uproar happening over it, thanks to, you want to pronounce the name there, Mr. Japanese expert?
Tomonobu Itagaki.
Okay, has chimed in asking why Lisa has been whitewashed.
Okay.
Apparently, this character in previous versions of the game was a little darker skinned. And in the new DOA 5, she's white. Now, some people are saying that it's because they're using a new engine with new lighting effects, and that's what's happening. And he's saying bullshit on that. He's saying literally, for lack of better words, that they've changed the character, like they've whitewashed her. They made her white instead of, I guess, what the semi-oriental character that she was.
She looks either a very light-colored, like African descent, or very, very darkly tanned. Like it's a hard distinction, and I'm looking up other images of her to kind of get an idea.
He's, Takia, whatever his name is, he's gone on record that the change is definitely not due to the lighting engine, so this was a deliberate choice to whitewash the character. He cites his experience as a game developer to bolster his argument. Now, Lisa is a relatively new character to the series, but one with a layered backstory and connections to many other characters. She is mainly a scientist who works with villain Victor Donovan, both under DOA tech as well as MST. However, she may in fact be a double agent as she has helped undo Donovan's plan. Lisa has also separate connections with Tina Armstrong and Kokoro. Do you think that they're like? Do you think that this is just a conscious thing that the game developers have done to, remove any racial identification to this character, or is it just accident?
I don't know. I don't think it is as bad as people think it is, because a lot of the images, if you do the search for Lisa Hamilton, at least in DOA in the same Google image search, her skin tone is all over the goddamn map. Like, it's not consistent.
All right, here's the question. True, do you think we're being too sensitive these days about some of the shit that goes on in video games? Like, whether it be, skin color or, sexuality or gender? That's
a whole nother show, Cranky. But yeah, I'm not a fan for judging people. Judge a person on the person that he or she is, not on the sex, color, race, anything. It's just, yeah. And the fact that people are still are adamant about arguing about it over and over again. And of course, there are some points that probably do need to be argued, but for the most part, fuck off.
Because I'll be honest with you, as far as I can tell with all the images, this is a lack of tan at this point. She skipped going to the tanning bed every other day and decided to go a little more natural colored look than orange.
So, why this concern over this whitewashing? Like,
oh, sorry, Bijou just mentioned something here. It's never really pointed out, but there are theories that she is of Latino descent because of her fighting style and nickname in the game, the Mariposa.
Okay.
So that would make more sense.
Again, I come back to the point. Why are we being so sensitive over the fact that her skin color might, like, either accidentally within the game because they're using a new engine, as you know, some people are saying it's got different lighting effects, and you know they're still working on the detail. Like, why is this such a point that somebody's got to come out and attack the game for whitewashing one of the characters? I don't understand this.
It's just SJWs. The social justice warriors want to. If they look for anything to bitch at and bring to the attention of media, and really they need to go the hell away. They need to stop, because this is just retarded now.
Mm-hmm.
People who yell at on the internet loved our diversity. Yeah. Come summer, get dark. You know, one last little bit before we go on break for 5 minutes. Apparently, Batman Arkham Knight on the PC will only be sold digitally in the UK. In Europe and North America, you're still going to be able to buy a physical copy. Now, I know that this may not seem that important, but one of the points they raised, and this is something that is important, is the fact that the size of these games that we're getting now, if the only way you can get them is to download them, that's the only way, and you are living in an area, and I will use the U.S. and I will even use Canada. You're living in an area where you've got caps on your broadband, and you're looking at a 60 gig game file to download. Like, how can you, like, at what point did you just sort of say, I literally can't afford to get this game?
Yeah, I didn't think about your bandwidth limitations like that.
Yeah.
To me, I was just like, oh, but they'll eventually release it, so it's no big deal. But yeah, when you bring that into to matter, that's
like, what happens if in the U.S. or in Canada they suddenly say, well, we're not going to be releasing a physical copy. The only way you can get it is to download it. And I know that if I had not, made arrangements with my ISP, I literally could not do this show. Because it would take me so far over my bandwidth. Thank you, Cylon Raider, dude. Thank you very much. So the idea of also, like, downloading a 20, 30, 40, 56, like, what is it? One of the new games coming out is 60 gigs.
Yeah, and my old place, the internet connection we were on, that would have taken up 80% of my usage for the month. Now I have unlimited, so I don't have to bark about it, but it's kind of speaks to the fact that I had an article I saw today that the U.S., they did the average internet speeds. The U.S. isn't even in the top 10 for average U.S. Internet speed. So, like, a lot of European countries, I think, like, either China or Japan are insane. So Canada I don't even know where we were.
But the question is, what are we supposed to do as gamers at that point? You've got to make a choice. Do I end up having to use my bandwidth to get this game because it's the only way I can get it, with the possibility that I'm going to run out of bandwidth by the end of the month, and I'm going to be charged overages.
Yeah. Well, that would be for a lot of people a no sell immediately.
Yeah.
Unless you conserve your usage and buy it at the end of the month or end of your billing cycle.
Yeah, but come on now, who really fucking thinks of that? Like, really?
You know what? I had to. When I was living on that, I think it was down to 40 gigs initially, and they bumped us up to twice the amount. And that was one of the reasons why I quit playing WoW for 3 years, because 40 gigabytes a month is nothing. I can chew through that in a day.
Like, true, if you had to pick, right, between, getting a game and having to pay overages at the end of the month because you ran out of bandwidth, or not getting the game and being within your limits, what would you do?
It would have to be just an incredible game for me to go out. Batman's an awesome game. I had a lot of fun playing the Batman series, despite what I just said about not playing Assassin's Creed style games, but I love the Batman ones. Maybe it's just the theme. But yeah, no, for Batman, I would just not buy the game, and they would lose revenue because of my ISP situation, hypothetically.
Yeah, granted, this is all like, because we're still lucky. We can get the physical download, or we've got unlimited. We don't have to worry about it. But there's a lot of people out there that don't.
Well, it kind of begs the question: is like, how long does it take these companies to start lifting these kind of? They almost feel archaic.
They're not going to.
Well, I know here, a lot of the packages on Kojiko, which is technically the company I'm on, they've been increasing their package, the bandwidth amounts, like almost every year.
Sure, they've been, but here's the thing: just sell unlimited.
And you know what they do? Kojiko finally has done it.
$150 a crack.
Yeah,
and you you have to be a business to get it.
No. How they work it is what used to be the ultimate 30 and 55 are now the ultimate, I think, 55 and 120 packages. So that's their download speed for megabits per second. You have to be on one of those two packages, and even the lowest one, the 55, is probably about $115 a month. That's residential. I pay 70, or no, sorry, 80 now because I upgraded. $80 a month includes the package, the unlimited, and the modem rental.
What is it like? What's it like where you are, Drew? Like do you have caps or do you have an unlimited and like what's your your cost?
Yeah, it's shitty, but it's unlimited. So I mean, I get capped on my bandwidth, so it'll definitely throttle my connection when I start doing a lot of downloads and stuff throughout the day. But it's unlimited data, so it's expensive, but it gets the job done. I don't have to worry about going over my cap. It's not like a cell phone data plan.
Yeah, and I haven't seen any throttling, at least yet. I know there have been a lot of issues with.
Don't use BitTorrent then.
Oh, I do. I do. I'm not kidding.
But you're not on Kojiko. Kojiko is acknowledged, and so is Bell is acknowledged that they throttle Bit, and so does Rogers. They all throttle BitTorrent.
Here's the thing: in living with my family and then living with my ex, both on Kojiko, use torrents, never a problem. And they've never been. And technically, I am on a Kojiko connection. I'm with Start Communications, but it's still the same. The thing is, it's Bell and Rogers that have been bad.
Yeah.
And I've read a lot of reports on it, especially for like, not even torrent, online gaming. Like there were people who were getting throttled playing World of Warcraft.
Do you have that happen down where you are, where your ISP will throttle certain things?
Oh yeah, they won't admit it, but they definitely do, and torrents are a part of it, and they do analyze all the traffic that comes out my network too. So
that's Like
I have no other choice. I have to use this one ISP.
That's the
so
NSA for you.
Yeah, and they keep raising my rate, and they don't increase my service. Every month, my bill goes up about $5 to $10, and I always argue it every 2 months, I would say. And they won't. They're so terrible. They won't give me a bill or a statement. I just have to believe them, and I call in and bitch every time. I'm like, why can't I see my statement? Why can't y'all just snail mail me my statement? They're like, oh, you are being mailed your statements. I'm like, I live here and I'm not receiving them, but I'm not going to get into it. That's my personal problem.
Yeah.
But they suck, man.
But I think that's a common thing with a lot of people who live on the net. We suffer through this shit, and it's a pain in the ass. But in the meantime, we are going to take a 5-minute break, folks. Got to refresh the drinks. Take care of some business. We will be back in 5, but in the meantime, if you enjoyed the show, you're enjoying the conversation, and you haven't followed yet, please consider hitting that follow button. It lets us know that we're doing something right and you're enjoying the shows, and we'll keep on doing this and bring you even more goodies. But for right now, we are going to take a 5-minute break. We will be back in 5.
Gallstaff, you have entered the door to the north. You are now by yourself, standing in a dark room. The pungent stench of mildew emanates from the wet dungeon walls.
Where are the Cheetos?
They're right next to you.
I cast a spell. Where's the Mountain Dew?
In the fridge, duh.
I want to cast a spell.
Can I have a Mountain Dew? Yes, you can have a Mountain Dew. Just go get it.
I can cast any of these, right? On the list?
Yes, any of the first level ones.
I'm gonna get a soda. Anyone want one? Hey, Graham, I'm not in the room, right?
What room?
I want to cast Magic Missile.
A room where he's casting all these spells from. He hasn't cast anything yet.
I am, though, if you'd listen. I'm casting Magic Missile.
Why are you casting Magic Missile? There's nothing to attack here.
I'm attacking the darkness.
Fine. You attack the darkness. There's an elf in front of you.
Whoa!
That's me, right? He's wearing a brown tunic, and he has gray hair and blue eyes.
No, I don't. I have gray eyes.
Let me see that sheet.
Well, it says I have
Well, it says I have blue, but I decided I wanted gray eyes.
Whatever. Okay, you guys can talk to each other now if you want.
Hello,
Hello.
I am Galstaff, Sorcerer of Light.
Then how come you had to cast magic missile?
You guys are being attacked.
Do I see that happening?
No, you're outside by the tavern.
Cool, I get drunk.
There are 7 ogres surrounding you.
How could they surround us? I had Mordenkainen's magical watchdog cast.
No, you didn't.
I'm getting drunk. Are there any girls there? I totally did. You asked me if I wanted any equipment before this adventure, and I said no. But I need material components for all my spells, so I cast Mordenkainen's faithful watchdog.
But you never actually cast it.
Roll the dice to see if I'm getting drunk.
Yeah, you are.
Are there any girls there?
Yeah.
I did, though. I completely said when you asked me.
No, you didn't. You didn't actually say that you were casting the spell. So now there's ogres, okay?
Ogres? Man, I got an ogre slaying knife. It's got a +9 against ogres.
You're not there. You're getting drunk.
Okay, but if there's any girls there, I want to do them.
And we're back. Just a little bit of screaming humor there to help you through your...
That man really hates yellow.
Yeah, he really, really hates yellow, doesn't he? Doesn't he hate yellow? God damn. There was... I think it's PC Magazine that does this regular face-off between 2 of their game authors, writers. And this week, I'm not really going to go into what they had to say. I want to use this more as a launching point for us. But has the open world survival genre run its course? Have we had enough of this nonstop, like every time you turn around, every week there seems to be this new open world survival sim, whatever you want to call it, game coming out, and it's just, what do you guys think? Is it reaching saturation point?
Reaching?
It's definitely saturated, that's for sure. But I think it's because there's just hasn't been a truly a good one to come out. Like, the idea, I think, is really neat, but I don't think any of those games have actually properly executed a fully functional. I mean, I guess you could argue DayZ, but I'm not a DayZ player, so.
Yeah, neither am I. And okay, because you've always got the argument too, which is better, the mod or the standalone? You know, and you can go down that path. With Rust, you can go down Rust 1 or Rust 2. You know, and you've got a lot of them, you know, reimagining their games, and you've got ones coming out left, right, and center, and you have failures like Stomping Lands. What about you, Red? What do you think?
It's too much. Like, we've had Minecraft and DayZ, and then H1Z1, and then like however many that we have now. Like, Fallout 3 wasn't exactly a survival simulator, but it still had a lot of the survival type elements to it, and I think that did it well. When you get all these ones, it's always typically now it's a zombie survival game. Like, well, really? Does everyone have to do the same thing? Like, you're just... I understand that competition breeds, innovation. I get that. But the level of competition is crap. Plain and simple. Like, well, it's just...
True. Like you said, like, it's like we're waiting for the one to come and basically show it how it should be done. Can you think of any that have even come close to doing that?
But just from the first month and initial impressions, I think Rust had an amazing potential. We had a blast playing it, but they just decided it was just so vulnerable to the hacks and exploits, so you couldn't actually play the core game. It became just a haven for script kiddies and people that just trolls. Griefers. So yeah, and it's gonna be tough, because I do think that the massive multiplayer survival type game where you gotta actually kind of role play and meet up with a group of friends and have tribes kind of break off and wars, which is sandbox. Like I think it's an excellent idea, but with the way the internet works, the amount of trolls there are, the amount of just nerd rage that's out there. It may be a dying genre. But yeah, just to answer your question, I would like to say Rust came close, but quickly we realized after a couple months that development was gonna stall, and it just flopped.
Like, I agree with you. It's like we're flitting around the edges of a really good genre. We're getting a shitload of crap littered all over the place that's acting more like manure than it is game, in the hope that just one of them will actually grow into fruition to be the open world survival game. And I think that's what Daybreak Games or SOE was hoping with H1Z1. I think they flopped. You've got games like State of Decay. You've got 7 days to live, or 7 days to whatever it is. You've got any number of them that are they're close. But the thing that gets me about all of them is that the graphic style is so similar and it sucks.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's all the same. Like DayZ and H1Z1 look like the exact same game.
Well, no, I don't agree with you there. I think H1Z1 did step up the graphic quality, not by much, but it did step it up. But DayZ has become a template that you see that same graphic style, the same body type, the same the hand in front, holding the gun, whatever. Like
good impression.
Here, grab my strong arm.
Yeah,
Thinking.
fuck, give me a break. Like we've got better breast physics than we do got hand physics. Like, give me a break here, guys.
Thank Jeebus.
Yeah. But I don't think the genre is dead, and I don't think it's going to die. What I think it's going to be is, like you said, True. We're waiting for that gem. We are waiting for that one that we can all get behind, and say, yes, this is the one. And I'm not seeing it so far.
It's going to be a couple years down the road.
But here's the thing, though, and like Red said, will our attention span last that long?
I don't think so.
Yeah, but look at it though. I mean, there's obviously been a lot of rush from these developers to push these games out early release before they're ready. So what does that do? Kind of kills a lot of games.
Well, and that's the thing, like, and it kills it because a lot of people don't understand what early access means. It's the old alpha and beta phases. We've been talking about Lancelot's Hangover before, and totally off the genre, but it's listed as a beta. And there's a certain point where I started playing it, it's like, hey, let's go into the forest is the next part. They literally just bring you back to a load screen. It's like, hey, that's thanks for playing this part of the game. So we haven't finished this, so we're going to just skip you ahead. Like, so...
Grim Dawn's the same way. Like I got to one point in part of the game where it said, we haven't finished the content for what goes beyond this gate, so you can't go any further.
Yeah.
Right?
Cool.
Which is a good way to do it.
Yeah.
It's a good, honest way to do it. Because then you know that there is more content coming, and that gate's going to open, and you're going to have a blast.
As long as that gate's not closed for over a year or two, that's not bad at all. That's a great way of doing it.
But when it comes to the open world sim, I want to believe that there are some developers out there who don't want to do the cookie cutter DayZ Rust template. they want to produce a really good quality. Like, I'm sorry, you look at State of Decay, you look at 7 Days, and you look at any one of those, and they look the fucking same. They're not different. They're like, the graphics suck. The only way they try and differentiate themselves is by maybe the mechanics and by how they blow shit up. I'm sorry, that's just, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just, I got hopes for it. I would love to see a high quality one. I just don't know when we're going to see it. Mm-hmm. Now, who remembers Asteroids? the classic Atari game. Well, apparently, like I think we talked about this at the very early beginnings of this show, back in January, February, that Atari had announced Asteroids Outpost, which is a reimagining of the possibilities in Asteroid's name by turning it into a survival game, and now it's early access. But we we have a clip for it. So actually, I hope we do, unless it's been taken down. But we'll see. Here we go. Let's have a look at Atari Asteroids Outpost.
Hi. Take the beat.
Okay.
No. You know what? That trailer tells me as much as the one for, I think it was called Cyberpunk did.
Yeah.
Good music.
Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah, it's like that nice slow-mo, but
Yeah.
didn't tell me anything.
And they actually never came out with that game. It was just a teaser. So
Even better.
What do you think, Drew? Is this the next Asteroids game of history?
I couldn't tell you from that trailer. Good music, pretty artsy, but yeah, it didn't give it. Graphically looked awesome, but couldn't tell you from it.
Graphically, it could be just a cutscene.
Yeah, absolutely. It could go back to what Asteroids really looks like.
No, that would be
just
funny
pointless.
as hell.
That would piss so many people off. Atari would tunnel itself into the ground.
Or they turn it into like a fully 3D version of the game, where the asteroids were just lines, but now they're actually rocks, and you got to that's what's coming at you, not this shit. Like,
No, Atari would get pummeled into the ground if they did that.
do you think? I think, and I'm sorry, who was it that blamed me for killing the fish? I had nothing to fucking do with it. Nothing at all. Not my fault the goldfish died. Just Asteroid's fault. Atari's fault. Blame them.
Blame the guy who got his arm blasted off.
That too. Yeah. he hadn't learned how to shoot yet. Now, I'm not sure what the fuck this is, but it's called the Captain Forever Remix. It's a licensed remix of the shipbuilding shoot 'em up launched prior onto Steam Early Access yesterday, and I had to pick it up because I couldn't shake the feeling it might be arcade roguelike to help stop the Binding of Isaac Rebirth from dominating his thoughts. Anyway, Captain Forever, if you missed the original game created by Farb, is a fine arcade shooter about blasting randomly generated ships to bits and stealing those bits to build your own ship. You can redesign in real time whether you're fancy. Thank you, Mazlink, for the follow, dude. Thank you very much. Now, I honestly don't know what this remix shit is, but it's the video that came with, no, what the hell did it go? There we go. Okay, like I said, I'll throw the link to the Steam Early Access page for it. You guys can, you're on your own.
So basically, this is like an arcade shooter. Like, think of Asteroids on steroids, with like Robocraft pulled into it, like the whole build your own crap built in. It's interesting, but god damn, I need to be high on something for that.
Yeah, it's definitely a casual game. I couldn't see me sitting down for more than 10 minutes on it.
Well, you beat me.
10, I wouldn't have given it 2.
Yeah.
I figured the tutorial's about 10 minutes, and
I figured the uninstall's about 2. Battlefield. Okay. Hardline is if you bought Battlefield Hardline thinking it would be stopped. I can't talk. God damn, that thing just threw me for a loop. There is a spring update coming to Battlefield 4. It is going to add a Gunmaster game mode and a new weapons crate. At the same time, the map, as well as the community-made map, players will also see the return of the Gunmaster game mode. It's a free-for-all deathmatch where players all start with the same weapon. Upon getting a kill, they'll be given a new weapon and tasked to kill another to further advance. The winner is the player who completes the entire list of weapons. This comes along with a new weapons crate and blah, 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 and a balance pass, so on and so forth. Update is scheduled to hit in late May.
Hooray, they added gun game from Counter-Strike and a mode that's already in Call of Duty.
that's what I was thinking.
That's all this is gun game. You start off with some of the higher powered weapons, work your way through, and get down to the knife. And you knife someone, you win.
See, I don't play Battlefield 4 and I don't play Call of Duty, and those are not my type of games. So,
Jojo, correction, Counter-Strike 1.6. Not Counter-Strike Go, because that wasn't the first iteration of a gun game. Sorry. I had to make sure that's damn clear.
Well, aren't we just Mr. Picky tonight?
Uh-huh. Fact checking.
Yeah. Are you a Battlefield 4 player, True? I don't think so, are you?
Nah.
No. No, you're
But
the,
as Red said, there's nothing new here. Other games have done this. It's just a common game mode that they're putting in Battlefield.
I don't really like. Yeah, fine, okay. You know, I'm at a lot. Like, I'm seeing people in chat saying all this is a dollar grab, and that's all that this is striking me as.
Really is, because they have a new weapons crate.
And I take it those weapons crates you have to buy.
I believe. I don't know with Battlefield 4, but Hardline was different when the fact that you could use money that you earn in game, like when you do objectives, you get cash. You can use that to buy these crates. So Battlefield 4 might be a bit different. I just never bothered with it.
Another one of the big shooters, Call of Duty, is having a big tournament with some of the best players vying for a $1 million prize pool. And guess what? It's not happening on Twitch. It's happening on MLG. Which, for those of you not familiar, is Major League Gaming, or MLG.com, which is supposedly a competitor of sorts to Twitch.
Well, it's longer running.
MLG, no.
I thought MLG's been running for a long time, to be honest.
I don't think so.
And I'm gonna have to fact check myself.
Yes, fact check that one, sucker. What do you think of the prize money that's going on now for a lot of these games? True, do you think it's like getting a little carried away, or if it's too low?
I don't pay a lot of attention to MLG, but I mean, there's a lot of sponsors and a lot of companies that go in there that I guess need to reap the benefit, and the team sizes are pretty large. So I could imagine at the end of the day, a lot of that money gets distributed out pretty well, plus taxes. So what it's a $1 million prize pool. That sounds about fair to me, but I don't know what I'm talking about. So
MLG founded in 2002.
Okay.
MLG.TV might be newer, but MLG's been I always thought it was the go-to in terms of professional gaming for the years until, like League of Legends, Dota, Twitch, all that stuff kind of surfaced.
I'm not sure. When was Twitch founded?
Twitch.tv 4 years ago, June 2011. So MLG has been doing stuff like Halo and Counter-Strike tournaments for years. I think.
Well, okay, here's a question: If they've been doing this for this long, guys, like since 2002, right? Why haven't they taken off? Why aren't they the leader in this space? Because you ask anybody about game streaming, competition streaming, and I would swear that 99% of the people will say Twitch. But it's actually newer than MLG. So why is it that MLG didn't take off, I wonder?
I'm not sure, but like MLG, it sounds like, and then Dark Devils is saying that it's basically a completely different thing. I think that he said it went under, and the MLG website is a new thing, but they have been around, but they also tried the whole TV route. I'm pretty sure, because I remember seeing a Halo tournament on like Sportsnet or ESPN or something at one point years and years ago. But it.
What is it about Twitch, True, that you think has made it the darling of both competition and for streamers? Because admittedly, we've talked about this before, and even the last time you showed that Twitch has problems.
Yeah, it's just lack of options once again, and early marketing, getting into the game early enough, and I can't stress that word enough. Marketing to the right people, the right communities, it's gonna explode, and it has exploded, and it's scaled quite a bit. And in my opinion, I don't think the way Twitch is set up, it was meant to scale. So they are there's a lot of growing pains in Twitch right now, and they're working diligently to hopefully resolve that. I haven't seen their progress yet. We will see. I'll be looking forward to it because right now Twitch is in the spotlight. It is the place to go for these new streamers. And this whole new gaming thing known as streaming. It's very new to me. I only started watching streams 2 years ago, maybe, when I found Diz.
Yeah,
so.
that's been about it for me too. And like, okay, so we're at what, 250? So that would be 212, 213. 2013. You started watching. Same, you'd be about the same for me. And that's 2 years after Twitch has been founded.
Yeah.
Yep. And I'm just reading a little further on the wiki on MLG. Their premium streaming service, MLG.TV, didn't start until November 2013.
Ah, okay.
But they actually had Major League Gaming competitions broadcast on ESPN.com and other broadband sites, predominantly in US and Canada. So they've been hosting tournaments.
I actually had not heard of MLG.TV or .com up until around the same time that I got into Twitch.
I was aware of it. But again, it's never been in the forefront like Twitch has. Twitch has kind of hit the perfect sweet spot in timing with the surge of gaming, especially a surge of a lot of very popular games like League of Legends. But like watching on ESPN, it was a Halo tournament. Who's going to switch channels and see Halo tournament and keep watching it on normal mainstream TV?
No,
Nobody. And I watched it because I'm a gamer. I'm going to watch this shit. But even then, after about half an hour, I switched it because Halo's not that great.
Here's the interesting thing that I thank you, Fiole, for the host there, dear girl. I hope you're feeling better. I really do. I was going to actually message you later. But anyway, I lost my train of thought. God, I lost it. I totally.
Probably something to do with why it didn't take off, or
no, like, oh, yeah, I know. When it comes to watching, like, we're always threatened, or mainstream media is always being threatened with the cable cutters. That's the next big movement. Everybody's going to start cutting cable. They're going to get out of the cable. They're not going to be, watching cable TV. They're not going to be watching regular TV. It's all going to be whatever they want on the internet. How much of your viewing time does Twitch take up? Has it replaced television?
For the most part, yeah, and I would have never thought that. But yeah, the longer I spend on Twitch looking for streamers, finding good communities, and just the feeling of being a part of something, definitely better than television.
What about you, Red?
It depends on the day. Like, if there's a big League alert, I can't talk either. If there's a big League of Legends tournament, I might throw that up on my TV, on my Chromecast. But the thing is, that's something to watch instead of watching regular traditional television. But I think that the reason why a lot of people are more into it is because it's the interaction. It's plain and simple. Like, you're watching something like an MLG, you're just watching the stream and the commentators.
Thank you for the donation, dude. Much appreciated.
And what have you. So with Twitch, just like the True saying, there's a community, and especially with a good streamer who's interactive with his chat, that fosters a great community and the sense of belonging in a way. And people will gravitate to that more easily than just watching someone play a game with no interaction.
See, for me, it has totally replaced television. Totally. The only television I watch is stuff I happen to find littered around my hard drives on those rare occasions. But yeah, Twitch has become my entertainment center. Not just because I do these shows, and and so even going to become more with the new shows coming. It's basically music or Twitch, and usually both at the same time. And I'm just wondering, as the generation that is growing up with Twitch, that is making it their entertainment, as they start, and as the word spreads and as it gains in popularity, whether or not Twitch could be at some point, as long as they get their shit together, a major competitor for primetime viewing. To the point that people say, I don't, we always hear the fact of, how can you guys sit and watch somebody play a game for hours on end? Well, have you tried? Have you tried to do it?
Yeah, on paper it sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, it does. It sounds really, really friggin' stupid. Yeah, the pump on my chair is falling apart.
Well, and here's the funny part. I know girls who've been dating people, or girls I've dated over the years, that don't play video games but enjoy watching them being played.
Yeah.
So, there's a whole market of those people out there that maybe not are gamers but enjoy watching them, because in some cases they can be like a movie. In some games, or some it's just entertaining to watch.
Now, I will admit that come April 10th, Twitch is probably going to take a bit of a hit.
Oh yeah, right? Definitely.
And also, but you also have your favorites like Game of Thrones. Okay, that is. But here's an interesting point: they're already placing bets on whether or not it will be again the most downloaded show in history for another year in a row. And, we're not talking legally.
Of course not.
But anyway, when it comes to our games and the sound effects that are in the games, we typically think that they're created using computers, right? That's kind of what we would think. Well, apparently, when it comes to Mortal Kombat's gross fatalities, they're created a little more basically. Thank you, Paul, for hosting the stream, dude. Very much.
Sorry, guys.
So these are how some of the fatality sounds are made in the game.
Traditional Foley artists.
Yep.
Oh, excuse me. Pardon me.
Even he can't keep a straight face.
It has to be watching that one at least.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Who's the person that thought up of using that shit to make those sounds, and how they were used, like they could be used in as fatality sound? Like, who thinks up this shit? Let's just get some green slime and throw it in a bowl and make some sounds with it. Like,
You know what? That's the one thing that not a lot of people really put a lot of thought into in that profession, in the Foley artist, because they have to be sometimes very creative to get a realistic sound of what they're trying to get. Like that's crazy. Sometimes watching it is just unreal.
Yeah, it's like the how do you make the horse the hoof sounds? Two pineapple, two coconuts together. It's talent. Like, if you were playing the game, like, I don't know if you can play the game now and not, Can you imagine now you're playing, Mortal Kombat 10, and all of a sudden you hear those sounds and you're going,
green fart slime.
Yes, like there goes your competition. You're dead. You're done. Like you'd be dead. That's all there would be to it. Now, in celebration of the Call of Duty competition, EA has released Activision has released an infographic spanning all of the games of which include Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, Black Ops 2, Ghost, Advanced Warfare, and they've released some stats, and I'm just going to read them off, and I'll throw the link into the actual infographic into the chat in a minute. More than 175 million copies sold across all platforms. Now, translate that into, $50 to $60 per. Like, that's a lot of fucking money. Since the franchise's launch over 10 years ago, there's been a Call of Duty, copy of Call of Duty sold approximately every 2 seconds. That's not a bad stat to have for your game. Over 100 billion multiplayer matches have been played. Over 390 million professional American football seasons. Over 200, it's equal to more than 300 billion grenades thrown. That's 44 times the number of cell phones in the world.
Interesting comparison.
Yeah, I know, really, eh? It's like you want to throw your cell phone, and I imagine there's times we've all wanted to do that. It's awarded 579 billion in-game awards, more than 5 times the amount of stars in the Milky Way galaxy. So yeah, here's the link. I'll throw it into chat for you guys. You can check it out at your whenever you want.
I want to know. I do and don't want to know how many bullets have been shot.
Yeah,
like that's some of those kind of stats are kind of interesting to know.
Yeah, but do stats like this really matter, or are they just sort of for fun?
I'm the last person to care. Really, I'll be honest.
Like I think they're entertaining to kind of to look at, and especially when you have those kind of direct comparisons to say how widely it's played. But there's a lot of games that could say the same thing. Who knows? I don't even think World of Warcraft could have even at this point tallied up how many arrows and spells and have been fired off in the 10 years they've been running. And I don't want to know.
You know what I'd be interested in seeing stats for, though, for over the lifetime of the game? Is WoW.
Oh, yeah.
That would be some interesting stats. Like, I don't know how they would be able to do it, True, but what kind of stats do you think you could get out of WoW that would just be mind blowing?
Because you get them at with a damage, a DPS meter you can get at the end of a raid or at the end of a day, however you have it set to reset. So yeah, knowing the amount of deaths in the game, knowing the amount of damage a player has taken, and knowing the amount of DPS has bbeen done total, that would be pretty cool. And also healing on that note.
Yeah, because they have at one point, I know in terms, especially with current content rating, they'll have stats tracked for all the guilds that are pushing those raids, so they'll know how many times bosses have been downed and things like that. But they're not really in depth as to a lot of the other details. But I'd love to see how many people actually have legendary items, the artifacts, which are supposed to be rare, which I did with my warrior. I decided I want my warglaives. I did 2 runs in and out.
A couple of ideas from chat. Axel says, what I'd like to know is my kill stat over my lifetime through all games. Caillou says, the hours played across all player characters would be simply staggering. Jojo says, PlanetSide 2 has a shit ton of stats, including every shot fired and so on, I think. Yeah, so like that's like stats can be fun, but they can also be, you know, if that is your game, if that is your jam, it can also be really interesting from your history with the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the slash played command in World of Warcraft is one that always makes me cringe when I think about even using it half the time. Because between all the characters I have, I don't even want to think about adding up the time. I don't. And I'm not a hardcore player either.
Like, a rough estimate. You guys are long-time WoW players. Rough estimate. How many hours do you have in WoW?
I think the last time I checked, I had about 300, almost a full year worth of playtime. The guy that I've played the longest with for 10 years, my buddy Ravencroft, he was almost at the 1,000 mark. 1,000 days played.
Yeah, that'd be tough for me because I ended up getting a different account halfway through my WoW career. I believe I was approaching over a year on just one account. So played time, I'm sure, is between 1 and 2 years.
Yeah, didn't you remember when they were handing out those statues as part of the 10th anniversary? Weren't you up for one of those?
I did not receive that. I don't know what happened, but I think there was some sense where you had to be actively subscribed for that amount of time, because my sub was definitely on and off. And the account that I own now was not an original account, but the account that I did own on launch was, but that account was sold for tons and tons of money, and I no longer have access to it, or tried to get access. I could get access back, but I just, nah.
Yeah, I would have been up for it if I didn't have to take a 3-year hiatus, so.
Yeah, and I
was on and off.
I think I lasted 2 months. I just,
I can't really play MMOs much anymore. Just a bit too much grinding for me, and not enough time.
How about Guild Wars 2, dude? Like, you want to do
I
some
love
Guild
it.
Wars 2?
I love Guild Wars. I used to PvP my ass off in that game.
Because I wouldn't mind someone walking me through it.
Yeah.
You know, the finer points of it. Because I like the game.
Yeah, it's a beautiful game.
I'm enjoying it a lot. But there's things about the game that I don't know how they work, and I would like to. And it's not something that you can easily find. Like, it would be handy to have, a couple people that could walk me through that process of playing that game. It would be a lot of fun. 'Cause I really do like Guild Wars. I like it a lot.
It's very noob friendly. I mean, you could have a max level character come down to do quests that I like. For if I was a max level character I haven't done in that area, and you would get the same amount of experience, and I would even benefit from doing those quests as well.
We'll have to arrange some time. What do you think?
Definitely. I know DeGaulle and Seb would probably be down to jump into that too.
All right.
We stall play.
All right, that's what we'll definitely do that, because I want to get more into that game. One game I couldn't give 2 fucks for, but apparently a lot of people are, is the Mario Party 10. And get this, Red. They've highlighted a commercial just for us Canadians.
Wait, hold on. See, way over there, my caring just left.
Let's just have a quick look and see what Nintendo thinks Canadians think of.
Woo! It was so fun!
Look.
I'm having a great time playing Mario.
Whoa. That's... What the hell? Let me see if I can do a refresh on this, folks. Hang on a second. Give me a minute. Don't tell me I've lost it now, you stupid piece of crap.
Screw it, we're doing it live.
We're doing it live, folks. Hang tough. Hang
You know
tough.
what? While Cranky does this, I could just segue a little more PoE love in here.
Okay,
Pillars
go
of Eternity.
right ahead.
What a game! So we were talking about like stat tracking just a moment ago. So in my party, each party member has a very friendly tab that you can click on, and you can see the amount of times they've fallen, the amount of times they've died, the amount of damage they've done, the types of damage they deflected, just more stats than you could ever want. So like I had a rogue that just kept falling and falling and falling, he kept dying. And so I'm like, I don't think he's doing a lot of damage. I don't think the rogue's really working for my group makeup. But I look at his player stats and I can see the total amount of damage he's doing, and you know how many hits he's made, how many times he's been hit. So then you can kind of get a real good idea of what each individual character is pulling to the party comp. So that's an amazing use of stat tracking.
Don't mind me while I do this live, folks. It doesn't happen very often, but it's because I change screens midstream, it decided it didn't want to play nice. Okay, we're set there. Let me just back this up a little bit. And here we go.
Woo! That was so fun! It was so fun!
I'm having a great time playing Mario Party 10.
Bowser decided to crash the party today for Mario Party 10. We're here with our kids, always, every time, loving this franchise.
My favorite Mario Party memory would be playing with friends all the time. I'm actually really excited to try out the new Amiibo Party Mode.
They've added Amiibo to Mario Party 10.
Really cool.
Bowser's a really great character. I'm glad they brought him in as a 5th character.
I want to play as Bowser every single time. King Bowser, we won together!
I really like the addition of Bowser being able to play with the gamepad so that the one person can be like the villain in it.
It was fun being Bowser though.
Although he wasn't really good at it.
Mario Party 10 is now available in stores and on the Nintendo eShop.
So that is courtesy of Nintendo Canada.
I knew all Canadians were children. Sorry,
yeah, that's
guys.
one hell of a big igloo they're in there.
Yeah, no shit, eh?
Like, you know what? The one kid is like, this is a great villain. No, playing as Bowser is being the dick to your friends every time, alright? Like, what was the one of the new Marios they did where you could play together and then jump on each other and screw them out of continuing the level? Like, that's just what this sounds like. You can just be a prick to everybody. Which I'm all for, but
right.
I'm not for these types of games.
Yeah, no, I'm the last Nintendo. Actually, the last one I actually played was the one the other night in the browser for Super Mario 64. That was the last.
Never played. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You never played Mario Party?
No.
See, I have good memories of playing the first one on Nintendo 64. It was a blast. Like I played a lot of them because like me and my sister were into that type of game, and we'd have like a couple friends come over, and it's a fun like virtual board game, and like all the mini games, there's just tons of mini games, and you just can't help but have a great time playing that game. And I was actually looking forward to this Mario Party. I thought, playing it on stream with some people would be a lot of fun. You'd get a lot of good conversation out of it, but they didn't make it online. It's only split screen.
What is with that?
The fact that they can do Super Smash Brothers, which is a fighting game with 4 people moving on at the same, moving on and doing different things, different specials. I don't see if they can make that almost lag free and Mario Kart almost lag free. Yeah. I don't see why they couldn't make a board game lag free like that.
Yeah, and like Mario Party is a fun game. If you got friends, especially if you got kids that want to play games together. And sometimes get your ass handed to them by your ass will get handed to you by the kids. Like
That's usually what happens. Yeah.
But to be honest with you, in my opinion, I'd rather play Smash Brothers in the same room as my buddies because I know that they're in arm shot if they screw me over. It's just literally, Giotto will attest to it, that we've had times where I've literally looked at him, he's really screwed me in the fight, and I just lay one into him. Just extend the arm right into the shoulder.
Well,
I got a lot of bruises from that too.
Now, do any of you guys remember the Angry Video Game Nerd Adventures?
Nope.
Sounds familiar.
It's finally coming back to the Nintendo systems, but now as a video game character himself. Angry Video Game Nerd Adventures is coming to Wii U on April 2nd for North America, as announced by Screw Attack on their Twitter. Nintendo also lists the game on their official website for a price of $9.99. It's also announced that AVGN fans in Europe will be getting the game soon. No release date was confirmed for Europe, but it is coming to 3DS as well. We have a clip of Angry Video Game Nerd Adventures, and yeah, I'm not even sure what the hell this is. Okay, it's a platform.
What's up, Gibbs?
Yeah, he was bouncing on it.
Fancy a bounce. Pulling straight from Conquer.
Okay, so I get the impression that the Angry Video Game Nerd is a real person.
Yep.
Who they've
He's
translated into a character in a video game.
He's a YouTuber, I believe.
Okay.
So it's kind of like when they did, like, the Penny Arcade had their adventure RPG games.
So I imagine he's gotten a big payday.
I would assume so. Like, it's basically like I liken it to like a Mega Man type of platformer game, the way it is. It's like the side-scrolling shooting. Yay.
Yeah. Not me. Are you a side-scroller, True?
I mean, yeah. I'm not. I don't like platforming that much at all, but there are definitely other side scrollers that I enjoy.
Any names? Any favorites?
I mean, Terraria was really cool back in the day, but that didn't hold my attention too much. Another one, what was that game? Can't even think of it right now. I'll get back to you in a second. That was a good side scroller.
I'm not a side. I don't like side. Like I've often joked. The last side scroller I played was Commander Keen, and if you know your video game history, you know how old that game is. But that was the last one I ever played, and I loved it at the time. But no, I'm not a side scroller at all, not at all. What about Red? Do you like side scrollers at all, or?
Here and there. Like, I kind of grew up playing, the Marios, and like Moon Patrol is probably the first side-scroller game I ever played, and that was on the Atari. It's one of those things where, like, I can't do Mario anymore, or that kind of style, just because, like, how many years have I played it? It's the same thing no matter who does it.
Yeah.
So like Terraria is a great example of where they took the kind of art style and the game type and changed it so drastically that it's new. It feels different. It has something else going on, but
yeah, I grew up on Mega Man.
Yeah, that too. But like Rogue Legacy is a great roguelike platformer game. Yeah. And I'll play the crap out of that because it's challenging, it's fun, it's frantic, and every time you start a new new character after you die, things are different because of all the inbreeding, apparently.
What?
It's literally it's called Rogue Legacy for a reason. When you die, one of your next of kin takes over the quest, and they're flawed. There's some of them that will be colorblind, some of them who are nearsighted, some who I can't remember what they call it, but basically they make the whole game flip upside down. So you got to play the game upside down instead.
No.
Yeah, it honestly is. Even with your hate of platformers, it's actually worth a looking at, even on YouTube, because it's a pretty good game.
Yeah, and the game I was thinking about is Unepic. That game was a blast.
Unepic?
Yeah, it's not very well known. It was developed by a fellow in Spain. It was one of the kind of beginning of the whole, when the roguelike phase came back in and the early access phase came in. I could link a store page, but
yeah.
It was definitely a sleeper game where no one really heard about it. Never took off. But if you played it, a lot of fun.
Alrighty.
I'll link it.
Anyway, that is our show for tonight, folks. I want to thank Red Mage for being here. Thank you, True Pimpin, for being here. It's been a blast. I've had a lot of fun. Great conversation, and we will definitely do this again. But tomorrow, folks, it's Sunday, and you know what that means. It's What the Fuck Sundays. And that's when we have a lot of fun, little craziness, not that much gaming, but a lot of craziness, and I'm looking forward to it. Also, tomorrow at 2 p.m., I will be sitting down for another interview, but this time I will be sitting down with K-Dog, otherwise known as the Standing Streamer. It's for a sit-down conversation about him, his gaming, his life. Just so that should be a lot of fun. But for right now, this has been Late Night with Cranky and Friends. I want to thank you all for being here. If you've enjoyed the show, please consider hitting that follow button if you haven't already. It lets us know, like I said, that we're doing something right, that we're doing an enjoyable show for you. And also, if you want to help support us a little bit, the donation button is down there as well. But for now, we do have to say goodnight. Thank you very much for being here. But remember, folks, the two most important words of all: game on.